We're going to cover app number 2. This title is Multicultural Children Do Not Have a Support Group. And I'm going live on TikTok right now. Well, in its time, I guess. Hello, TikTokers. Don't go with the title. The title is wrong. I just didn't have time to type it, and you have limited space. So this TikTok is not for the sensitive of heart. It is not about violence. It is not about martial arts for once. This is one that's a little bit more close to home because my last video that I just picked, it's about a young lady who was black but believes that she's a white woman trapped in a black person's body. Alright, as eccentric and as crazy as that wasp is, as that may seem, I can honestly, truly to God relate to this situation. Alright? Hello, Brother Wade. Hello, brother. So, I grew up mixed. I am very well diverse in certain aspects of my ethnicity and my culture. I didn't get to do anything native other than listen to my great-grandmother on my dad's side in the summertime until I was 12 because she died when I was 12. This is a touchy subject, alright? If you are mixed, please stay. If you're not mixed, definitely stay so that you can learn some shit today. I'm also doing it on my YouTube channel just in case if y'all miss anything or if the phone dies or if I get banned for this video. As a young mixed child, we had a race war in my school. Prior to the race war, so the race war happened between 3rd and 4th grade, since I was in the 4th grade twice, it goes on. Alright, as a child, I didn't know what being mixed was until I got to school. Alright? And most kids who are mixed don't know what the fuck being mixed is until they get to school. When cruel kids try to, hey brother, when When cruel kids tend to point out the facts that you do not look like them. Like my hair. My hair was exceptionally curly. Right now, I'm doing this rice water thing because I learned it on TikTok. I don't know how long that's going to work, but rice water smells awful. We'll know if bees start flying around my head. Off topic. Anyway, so from 1st grade, I would say, is when I actually took notice. I didn't really put it too much mind because, like, kindergarten and 1st grade, you're still kids. You're feeling yourselves out. You're learning about gender. All right, you're learning the difference between boys and girls is what's between their legs. Girls go to this bathroom. For the most part, they sit down to take a piss and a poop. Dudes go to this bathroom. We stand up, except for when we're taking a poop. And there are some guys who probably sit down and take a pee. Okay, because when you're potty training as a child, that's generally how you are taught to pee as a boy. You might not remember that shit, but it is a thing. So, I think the first time somebody really said something racist to me was in the 4th grade where the white girl called me the N-word. Prior to that, they said a lot of racist stuff to me. My dumb ass just wasn't aware that it was racist. Alright? Because I didn't understand. Alright? Because my mom is white passing. And I have lost my mom as a grown-ass man in a crowd of white people. I have literally lost my mom. I couldn't find her. She's standing right next to somebody else that was white. She blended right in. That's why I nicknamed her Premium Blend. And I could not find her. I looked right through her twice before I remembered what the fuck she was wearing. And if I hadn't remembered what she was wearing, I probably would still be in Scottsville right now looking for her. So, that was a few years ago. But she literally blended right in with white people. I lost her a second time in a CVS, and she was standing behind a short Asian woman and a tall Asianish or whitish man, or both. Memory's a little sketchy, but I know I was in a panic. My father had just passed away, and I was looking all through PBS. I was looking all through CVS trying to find her, and I was like, dude, where the fuck is my mom? Because I hadn't too recently had cremated my father, so I was a little nervous about losing the only parent I had left, and I was all over the place. I know, you're probably thinking, why did you go there? I went there because of being multicultural. My mom is mixed. Her father's father was white, and her mother is native or native and black. We don't really know because she was adopted, so that's how that shit goes. Now, as far as my dad's side, my dad's dad was black, and my dad's mom and her mom were native. As a tribe and whatever, we were told Cherokee, so we're just gonna go with that until I can find more information. We're on my reconnecting journey. There you go. So back in school, before the race war, all I ever heard if my mom came to school, like on the first day of school, which I didn't go to because I got a scar over here because I thought I could fly. So went to the hospital. The second day of school, though, my mom brought me to school. It took maybe 3 days for kids to point out the fact that my mom looked white. All of my white friends were like, oh my God, you exist, you know, and I'm like, because as a child, you don't see skin tone in family. You know, you don't see, well, your mom and your dad look different. You see your mom and your dad, you know, and my parents were divorced by the time I was 6. So by the time I was in second grade, my life was already spinning out of control because my parents were no longer together. And if I got in trouble, my mom had to come to school. And all I heard from my white friends and my black friends was, you got a white mom. And I tried to explain to them, she's not fucking white. She just has a white ancestor. And they're like, you know what the fuck you're talking about. Your mom's white. It's like, my mom is not fucking white. But she can white pass. Okay? Let me explain that for those in the back. White passing is if you are a person of color who has exceptionally light skin. I'm sorry, there's a big fucking bumblebee right there. No. I can't show the YouTube people. I think it just went in that hole. Fucking A. Somebody's gonna have to get some bug spray. I don't know if you guys saw that. Anyway, hey Freddie. Anyway, so I had to explain to people that my mom was not white. Like, up until like the 5th fucking grade, I had to keep explaining because if I did something in school, my mom had to show up. My dad never showed up. They never got to see my dad. My dad lived in 3 cities away. He lived in Smithfield, Virginia, the place where all the packing ham and everything. If you're eating ham out of Virginia, it's more than likely it came from Waltney, which is in Smithfield, which is now owned by Chinese cats. So, there you go. Anyway, moving on. I didn't have a support system. What I got was racially insulted or verbal beatings from white friends and black friends. When the race war started, the black friends would always tell me, we can't have you around us while we're making plans to beat up white people because you're half H. If you want a reference to that word, go watch The Jeffersons and you will get the racial term for the H. Alright? I can't let anybody in, brother. This stupid phone won't allow me to do it. I don't know why it's not TikTok. It's my freaking retarded ass phone. I could try. If this works, that'll be a blessing. I highly doubt it. Yeah, it's not working. Come on, come on. My hands are clean. Why aren't you letting me in? Yeah, it's a fucking piece of shit. It's the phone. If I could ever get a new phone, we'll see. It very well could be my stupidity, but I can't get the phone in. So, on the flip side of that, my white friends were a little bit more direct and a little bit more crueler, and they would plan to fight the black kids. And they were like, we can't have you around because you're part N-word. And they didn't pull any punches with the whole word. And I'm like, well, damn. You know, so that kind of freaking sucked. But, yeah. I'm sorry, man. I can't freaking get the stupid thing to work. But, welcome to stay. And so, up until the 5th grade, I just thought I was black and I was white. Never fucking knew anything about my native heritage because when I saw my grandmother, and yeah, she told me native stories and running through the woods and the moccasins and all kinds of other shit. First, I'm a kid. I have no idea what the fuck moccasins were. Alright? I know what they are now. But I didn't know what the fuck they were when she was telling me the story about her and her older brother John. And to all my cousins that came from John's loins, how are you? We need to hook up. So I ain't pay this shit no mind. Because when you see your grandmother and your great-grandmother, you see them. You do not see them as a race of people. You just see their faces. You love them and you move on. So I never thought that shit, anything about it. You know, and then like, once I found out I was part Native, I said, okay. So that only added more to the racism that I was going to receive. Now, we got that out the way. So now let me talk about we as mixed people not having a support system. See, having a support system means that you can turn to someone who looks like you, who's had the experiences that you've had, and y'all can actually relate, share stories, shoulder to cry on, that kind of shit. I have none of that. I had some friends that were mixed, and we would go over ethnicities and stuff like that, or cultures and shit. And, you know, we would never have the debate on who's more blacker, you know, because who's more white or who's more blacker. Now, I have a friend, B-Dog. He's half white, half black. Nothing else, just half white and half black. Where I, on the other hand, am half black, half white, half native. You know, so that being said, you know, it's a conglomerate of, with mixed children. What are you mixed with? Let's hear your story. We had none of that shit, other than him, me, and a girl. I'm just gonna give you her initials, SM, and that was pretty much it. As far as other like mixed people, man, we could barely find them, like, ever. And each mixed person has a different story to tell, you know. And if you don't have someone to sit back and listen of how many times you tried to hang with black people and they would tell you, okay, and then somehow or another you would become the target of their insults and their jokes, or if they ask questions like, since you're part white, do y'all eat black people food or do you eat white people food? And as a child, my only answer was, what the fuck is the difference? Yeah, we're just happy to have food. We lived in the projects, man. We weren't afraid to eat anything. I never ate soul food. I was force-fed soul food, so I don't eat pig's feet. I don't eat chicken gizzards or anything else that falls into the realm of soul food. Now, I will tear some fried chicken wings the fuck up, and I will eat macaroni and cheese and mashed potatoes. But I know white people who eat macaroni, cheese, and fried chicken and mashed potatoes. So can we say there's a white food or a black food? Fuck no. I've never really ate native food outside of corn, inside of fucking pancakes. We all know about the corn and the pancakes, just in case my girl Brianna pops up. But yeah, I was forced to eat that shit. I hate corn. I fucking hate corn. I am afraid of horses. You have no idea how many people have come at me, but you're part native. How are you afraid of horses? I got fucking bit by one. It lifted me off the ground. Every time I talk about horses, this finger and this finger, which I've almost cut off, have start to burn. And it literally picked me up and it dropped me. You know, because I screamed like a little girl and I was 7 years old. I had a lot of shit going on when I was 7. Learned martial arts, got bit by a horse, been doing a lot of street fighting. But those were like the three majors. And then going to school and hearing the word half-breed all the fucking time. You know, it was a thing. You know, and mixed people, we do not have a support group because we can barely find each other. And then you have mixed people who are either white passing or black passing or Asian passing, depending on what they are mixed with. And they, if you have like, let me see, let's see if I'm going to word it properly, or at least I'm going to attempt to word it properly. If you have certain features that stand out more toward one side of your family versus the other, you were better off passing. Alright, so a lot of people that are black don't have a lot of naturally curly hair. So that was a problem. And I never liked having short hair. Never liked it. You know, in military it wasn't a choice because my registration is under black instead of multicultural or native. So now that I know that, because natives don't technically have to cut their hair in the army or military service, I just learned that on my way out of the military. And I was pretty pissed off about that shit. I was like, y'all can see that I'm part native, right? But they didn't give a fuck. Bald as a motherfucker. And for fun, if I got the right wallet in my pocket, which I do. This is my Geneva Convention cat card. No Avatar jokes. I am not Aang. Although that would be cool as fuck. I am not Aang. That is so you guys understand that that was my hairdo for 5.5 months. No high and tight. But, you know, you deal with that shit. As I got older, as I got into middle school, which is where I met SM, because she wasn't in our grade school. And fucking B-Dog wasn't in my grade school either. I met him in middle school also. But we still didn't have a support group. And we didn't hang together. Me and B-Dog hung together, but he was in sports. I was in Kung Fu and comic books. So it was kind of a touch and go thing. But most kids that are mixed, if you are more darker, or see, that's my true color. I don't know if you guys can tell the difference, but yeah, I have a farmer's tan from hell. My true color is high yellow. So if you were on the darker side and you were mixed, most people didn't know. You were black. If you were on the lighter side and you were mixed and you were white passing, most people didn't know because you were white passing. Now look at me. There's no way in hell you could tell I wasn't mixed. There's no way in hell that I could pass for either side. And that was before I found out I was native. And once I found out I was native, it was even worse because people, and myself included, did not know that Mexicans are also Native Americans. They are only called Mexicans because of colonization and shit, but they were also tribal. They are generally 1,000% as much Native Americans as Iroquois, Cherokee, Comanche, all that shit. So I don't even know why natives and Mexicans had wars, because they were also natives. Just do your history on that. We won't go too deep into that shit. But I got called Mexican a lot. I got called wetback. I got called spook. I got called slope. I got called a lot of shit like that. Not directly in school, but like on the way out of school, you know, people would say slick shit out their mouth. But they also knew that I knew martial arts. So they knew that I would not fight in school, but they would never face me outside of school. And as a person of mixed ethnicity, I did everything I could to fit in. Everything. I tried to be black. I tried to be white. I didn't have to worry about being natives because there were no natives in school. There were no natives. There were Asians, but there were no natives. And I even attempted to be Asian too. That shit didn't work out. But the only Asian thing about me was I do Kung Fu. That's it. But as far as everything else, I could not go talk to other mixed kids because there were basically 3 of us, and SM, she's a girl. So she did her own thing. And I'm going to tell you right now before I go any further. If you were mixed and you were female, it's better for you. Alright? Because people are always curious and they'll literally throw themselves at your feet trying to talk to you. If you're mixed and you're male, you fall into 2 categories. You fall into the category of people are fascinated and they want to talk to you, or you fall into the category of people are fascinated and they want to fuck your shit up. And they want to fuck your shit up emotionally because they're too scared to fuck your shit up physically. And I got a lot of emotional damage from some dumbasses, you know. And then, like, living in the projects, people wanted to fight me because I was mixed. Not because I was good at fighting, but people just wanted to fight me because I was mixed. Like, because you think you're special because you're mixed, because you're half black and half white. You think you're special, right? You think you're fucking special, so we're going to fight you because you think you're fucking special. The problem wasn't that I thought I was special. The problem was that I wanted to just be fucking black. And I tried everything to be black. I cussed more than the average black person. There is a wasp. Keep going, buddy. I said keep going. Not here. Go that way. I'm not allergic to them. I just don't want to be stung. No one wants to be stung. But, you know, I tried to adapt and try to be black. I did everything black. I tried to talk black. I cussed more than most black people. And a lot of black people don't even fucking cuss. It's a stereotypical lie. You know, most people that cuss in general, regardless of their ethnicity, they only cuss because they didn't think before they speak. It's pretty much where that goes. And you know, to hear like foreigners cuss is because they just learned that, which is cool to them. And then again, they don't think before they speak. So you know, it's just really cussing is more like a rite of passage versus not anything special. Now, again, back on the support thing. I didn't have a support group in high school. You know, again, me and B Dog and SM, we 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 talked in the hallways. You know, like ships passing in the night. And SM, she was pregnant in high school, so we rarely talked. And then one day in one of our classes that we had together, somebody said something to her about being a half breed. This invite things, not letting it happen. And she had said something because her mom's white and her dad's black. And they said something to her and she got pissed off and she was pregnant. And her water didn't break or anything, don't get excited. But she was pissed off and they had said something. She said, you know what? I'm proud to be a half breed. I got the best of both worlds. And all half breed people should feel like me. And if you don't have an issue with that, then leave me the hell alone. And if you do have an issue with that, leave me the hell alone. And I was like, you know, I never was ever proud to be mixed until that day. I was never proud to be mixed until that day. And thank you, SM, for giving me that. Because I had it the worst until the day I saw her have it that day. Because when you're male, like I said, most people only want to fuck with you just to make you the butt of their jokes or make you a target. It also depends on your size. I'm a really small guy. I have always been a really small guy. I'm still a really small guy at 5'3" and 125 pounds. It's mostly muscle, except for the stomach. I'm working on it. But you know, it just, we didn't have anywhere to really go. You can go to any after school program you want, but it did not ever have an after school program. It focused on mixed children, our inability to fit in, the stress that we have from kids, because kids are cool as fuck, from kindergarten to college. There's still no mixed support group. And I'm in college. I'm 2 classes from graduating, so yay me. But the concept of someone disliking me because I'm not all the way black, or all the way white, or all the way native, it started to take its toll. And there was no one that I could fucking talk to. It took its toll mostly in high school. Because in high school, I was no longer called half-breed. And the words chief became a thing. Now, for anybody who is of any race, especially a native race, we owe this little chief thing to Lee Diamond Phillips and Kiefer Sutherland, because they came out with this movie called Renegades. And whenever somebody would call Lee Diamond Phillips chief, his character, who was native, would flip the fuck out and fuck people shit up because he didn't like being called chief. Well, that's art imitating life. Only I have restraint. I have to have restraint because, you know, when they started calling me chief, it happened when I started working. I started working at Kegler's after 7.5 months of working at Little Caesars. At Little Caesars, I was never called chief. I was called by my name, and that was awesome. But when I got to Kegler's, the word chief became a motherfucking curse. It became a big fucking problem, and I had nobody I could talk to. My mom didn't want to hear that shit. People at work didn't want to hear it, and it was a harassment thing, but it wasn't harassment because harassment was a thing, but it was like a different type of harassment. When it came to jobs and shit, the only harassment they were ever concerned with was fucking sexual harassment. There is a bird right there. I have no idea what that bird is there. But there's a bird right there. I'm sorry, y'all. You can't edit live shit. Seeing that blue right there? Hope you guys saw that. Yes. I get distracted easily by nature. Anyway, I'm sure it'll probably come back. It's probably building a nest or something, which means I'm gonna have to go and remove it against all odds. But yeah, I went to work every day on the weekend because in high school in Virginia you could only work the weekends past 11 o'clock. I couldn't work during the week because schoolwork was a thing. You had like fuck tons of homework. There was never a class in high school that didn't give me homework outside of study hall. And most of the time in study hall, I tried to eliminate the homework so I wouldn't have to do homework when I got home so I could train. Because I would much rather be doing kung fu than fucking reading math books and shit. Now, I liked English. It was my favorite subject. History was my favorite subject too. So those were homework that I was willing to do and even do extra credit in. Math, man, to this day I still fucking hate math. But come Friday, I would go from school straight to work. I take my work shirt to work. I get out of school and I go straight to work. And I also had to turn around and work Saturday night instead of Saturday morning unless Kent wasn't working and I wanted to get that extra hours in. Then I would come in, I would sacrifice watching the X-Men to go get that extra money because $4.25 won't shit. By the time I left Kemper's, I was making almost $5 an hour. But I wasn't making $5 an hour. And the only reason I quit was because I wasn't making any money. I got jumped on the job once. That was a good story. I would tell y'all that in another video. I've already done it on my YouTube channel. If you want to go find it, good luck. Because I post a lot of videos and I couldn't tell you where the fuck it is. But I got jumped on my job and that kind of changed my insight on working at nighttime until I became a security guard. But that's a whole nother story. It has nothing to do with this shit. I got tired of being called chief. I approached this older man, because he's probably about the age I am now when this shit was going on. I was like 15, 16. I was like, dude, I have a fucking name tag. It is not Chief. My damn name is James. Can you please call me James? For 3 fucking years, this man called me Chief. Every fucking day, every fucking second that he got the chance to call me out, he called me Chief. Wouldn't say, how you doing, James? Good morning or good evening, James. It was, hey, Chief. How you doing, Chief? What's up, Chief? I was like, dude, that shit's fucking annoying. Stop calling me Chief. However, I have a boss. And bosses are forever telling you this fucking load of crap that you have to deal with on your job that the customer is always right. Well, so it's okay for the customer to be racist and call me fucking Chief. Hi, Frank. Frank didn't give a fuck. Because that customer paid mad money in the jukebox. Because I got friends in low places that he played that shit for 3 fucking years. Along with Don't Tell My Heart, My Achy Breaky Heart, Tush Push, and the only song that was worth listening to because I'm not a country music fan. Way down yonder on the Chattahoochee. I damn know all the words to all those songs. Which is another reason why I'm not a country music fan. But I couldn't talk to nobody. I couldn't tell anybody at school that I was being racially oppressed because my school had a lot more normal black people and normal white people and no fucking natives at all outside of myself. It were mixed. You either were black or you were white. There were very few mixed people in the school. Like, very few. This invite's not working. I do not know why. But, how you doing, brother? And the thing is, there wasn't anybody at home because at home, motherfuckers didn't want to be mixed. They went black. They went straight black. Took out anything in our family that had anything to do with white, with a couple of exceptions of maybe a picture or two of white Jesus. Now we have black Jesus. But when we lived in the projects, it was white Jesus, had the Bible, but everything was black. You don't listen to black music, and at that time, a lot of black artists didn't use the N-word. When we got into like this neighborhood, every black artist we listened to used the shit on the N-word and cussed. In other words, Public Enemy, Ghetto Boys, NWA, De La Soul, but you rarely heard them do that, and Will Smith, you never really heard him do that. But those were the groups that we listened to. Boogie Down Productions, all the swearing, all the N-words, all that shit. So we just basically didn't embrace the rest of our cultures. I'm the only idiot in the house that embraced all of our cultures because I spent more time with my grandmother on my father's side, so I had enough native knowledge, but it was mostly folklore and adventures of Ada and John. Ada was my great grandmother, John was her brother, which would make him my great uncle, or however that fucking shit works. But Ada's dead. I could not talk to Ada, you know. And as my aunts and them would say on my dad's side, well, see, here's the thing. Ada liked the grandkids that were yellow. Ada didn't like the grandkids that were too dark. Alright? And then I kind of found out recently that either it's Iroquois or Cherokee that used breeding as a bargaining chip to make the babies blend in with the other ethnicities, protection racket, bargaining chip. Look, if you're gonna have a fight, B, and I'm going to fucking go get that spray and kill you, which I don't want to do, go build your house somewhere else. This is mine. Anyway, yes, I talk to obscene animals and insects. I'm not Ant-Man, I can't control them, but you know, I can talk to them. I can ask them to peacefully go somewhere else. It's not working though, as more bees seem to be arriving. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I'm probably going to be ending this live before I get stung. But the majority of mixed people probably, like me, didn't have anybody they could go talk to, didn't know who to go talk to, didn't know how to talk to people about the situation. Because I mean, no matter how far back I go on my memory banks for school, it's like, I don't remember being able to tell anybody how much it sucked to be called half-breed. I don't remember being able to go tell anybody how much I've wanted to punch people in the face because they kept calling me half-breed. But I knew that if I got in trouble for that shit, I'd have to deal with my mom. And my family is one of those families, Generation X. If the neighbor saw me do something, the neighbor could whip off their belt and whoop my ass right then and there. When I got home, I had another ass whooping coming. If the weekend came and whatever I did got back to my grandmother or one of my uncles, I had an ass whooping coming. Now, between that, my uncles were making me fight on the streets. So it really wasn't a big deal because I knew they ain't going to beat my ass. They're just going to make me go fight somebody. And if I lose that fight, then I'm going to get my ass beat. So I wasn't into losing. Plus, I'm 5'3". So, and I was a lot shorter then. I think I stopped growing when I hit high school. But anyway, as a mixed person, I'm making this video and this live so that people understand when your mixed child has friends who are not mixed, your mixed child is going to go through similar shit. And I mean, it's going to be rough. And you need to be able to explain to them that one, kids are cruel, and two, just because you mix, it doesn't make you any less of a person. And a lot of kids tried to make us mixed children feel like we were less than because they didn't want to include us and shit. I remember back in grade school where I was the last guy picked on the kickball team because I was mixed. Didn't have nothing to do with the fact that I sucked at kickball. It had something to do with the fact that the white kids would look at me, boys and girls alike, and be like, yeah, we don't want him. And then I would be the default kid. You know, I would be the kid they picked by default because, you know, he's mixed. And if the black captain was captain and we weren't friends, he would pick anybody, even people who sucked at kickball worse than me, to be on the team. And then, to top that off, if you thought that was bad, this is the part where you all get to laugh. Not only was I picked, but I was put in the farthest, way in the fucking back. So that if somebody kicked the ball, no one would see me. They would see all the either white kids or the black kids, but the mixed kids in the back. I'm in the fucking back, way in the fucking back, and deep left. So I'm so far out in the back and deep left that they were like, don't worry, the ball will never get back there. And like I said, this is the part where you get to laugh. That fucking ball really Never got back there. And I'm sitting here. I can see the ball from where I'm at, and it looks like it's going to come to me. No, it looks like it's going to come to me. Plus, I couldn't catch. So that's probably why they set me all the way out there. And it looks like that ball is coming right to me. It's like, yeah, that ball's coming to me. That damn ball would stop like right at first base, and whoever was there would catch the ball and tag the person. And then when it was our turn, it was like, all right, because your last name is Williams, we're kicking in alphabetical order. Man, I rarely got to kick unless the bases were limited. You know, so, you know, and then after a while, I just got tired, man. And when they would play kickball and there would be like 13 of us, I'd step out. It's like, look, I ain't even playing. I don't even want to play. He's like, what? He's like, yeah, I don't even want to play. You know, just go off and play ball or whatever. So having imaginary friends helped me through a lot of shit, you know. And that's another reason why I was so glad that I had Spider-Man and the X-Men, because they were my real friends, because they never said, no, James, you can't read us. You can't go on this gigantic ass adventure with us. And here's where shit gets bad for that. There were no fucking mixed heroes. There literally was no mixed fucking heroes for my day. There were no fucking mixed heroes. By the time there were mixed heroes, the heroes that were mixed were part alien. They were never really part black or part white unless they were part alien. And there were no mixed alien black people. There were mixed alien white people in Marvel only. And I'm like, okay, well, that fucking sucks. By the time we got to the 90s, one of my favorite X-Men, Havoc, had a brother named Adam X. I don't know if it's retcon, but his mutant name or his X-Men code name was Extreme. He was part alien and part human, where his three brothers, you have Alex, you have Scott, and you have Gabriel, or you might know them better as Vulcan, Cyclops, and Havoc. They were white cats whose mom and dad were white. Corsair and Catherine. That's it. Now, Adam X, on the other hand, Catherine was his mom, but he was a SA baby. And he was cool as shit, but he was not meant to be born. But he was an SA baby with a space alien named the King. That's your X-Men history for today. But as far as now, you have other mixed characters, but you also have more ethnic characters and shit. But, like, for native characters, the only native characters I had was Thunderbird. He died. First appearance, he died. Then his brother would come in years later, which would be Warpath, and then you had Danny Moonstar, and being native, but none of them were mixed. And you had Roberto da Costa, who was native to Brazil, but when he turned on the superpowers, he was jet fucking black. And you had Magma, who was also indigenous to Brazil, but they didn't count her as native either. So I'm like, fuck, yo. And then if you go to Alpha Flight, you had 3 natives. You had, but you had to wait for the second native to actually appear, because she's the daughter of the first native, which was Shaman, and then you have Talisman, and then you have Snowbird. So like I said, there were no mixed characters. So I couldn't, in G.I. Joe, they had no mixed characters. Transformers, they had no mixed characters. So they had no representation for us mixed people at all. Which goes back to why we did not have a fucking support group. We didn't even have fucking heroes that we could play. You know? They had Black Star and they had Brave Star. That was about the only native characters that I know for sure. In the Silverhawks, they had Quickback, or whatever the fuck his name was, the black guy, bald-headed, he did like magic tricks or some shit. And then you had Flashback, and that was it. But there were no representations for me. Centurions, you had one native, John Thunder. It's like, well, damn. No black people were in Centurions at all. Not even in the cities, and if they were, I don't remember them. So it's just one of those things, man. And I'm like, fucking A. I got no representation, and I got no support group. And to this day, as far as I know, mixed kids do not have a support group in school. If they do, I would like to know that. So if you guys have mixed children, they have a support group, please let me know. But I know for a fucking fact, you know, when I was coming up, we had no support group. You know, you got a lot of half-breed jokes. You were the butt of a lot of half-breed jokes. If black kids invited you to places, it was basically to target you. Now, not all my black friends But quite a few of them some bitches, we would go places and they're like, yeah, why'd y'all bring him? Yeah, because their friends didn't like me. It was like, why'd y'all bring him? Y'all know he's not all the way black, right? He don't know how it is to be black. He doesn't have to deal with black issues. And I'm like, asshole, I live in a black community. I live smack dead in the fucking projects. Like, deadly seriously in the fucking middle of the projects. You know, or at least closer to one of the exits. But at that same time, I still had to deal with black issues. But I was never black enough for black people. And then, if you thought that was bad, when I went down to Smithville from my dad's side of the family, you know, it wasn't the family, but it was other black people in Smithville that like they hung with. I went with them. It's like, why your cousin so light? Why your cousin needs some sun? You know, he's all yellow and shit. Why is he not like the rest of us? And they're like, oh, well, our cousin is mixed. He's part white. And like, oh, well, that explains him. Y'all think we should be hanging with him? I mean, you know, he's part white. He might be one of those Asian people. You know, he might like go and tell all the white cats what we're planning and shit. I'm like, dude, I don't even fucking live here. I'm only here for 3 fucking months. Like, I couldn't hear them while they were standing like 40 some odd feet from me. And it's like, you heard that? I was like, yeah, man. You think I haven't been through this shit before? You think I haven't heard this shit before? I get it every fucking day in my own hometown. How the fuck do you think I can't hear this shit? And then there were other like mixed black cats, and they were adults. Like, yeah, you're gonna deal with that for the rest of your life. I had a guy named Red Porter. Shout out to Red Porter. I think he's still alive. He was my Uncle Bruce's best friend, or one of Uncle Bruce's best friend, and drinking buddies. And Red Porter is one of the people that taught me to embrace my heritage. Because it's like, yo, and you gotta accept this shit while you are alive. Because you are going to face this shit until the good Lord calls you home. There's not going to be a lot of people that you can talk to. But if you need me, and if you're in Smithville, I got you. And I never really brought the shit back up. You know, and as I got older, you know, I never really checked in on Red Porter. I never really checked on Decatur. Decatur's another guy who could be mixed because he was high yellow. And, you know, it's just something that I never really that get to me. And I was sitting there and I was like, you know, it got to me as I got older. Because like I said, there was just nobody to talk to. Nobody. And the thing about that is that kids have no censor. Kids don't know that they're hurting your feelings if you don't tell them. You know? And back then, mixed pride and shame wouldn't allow me to tell kids that they hurt my feelings. Especially when it was, James, we don't want nothing to do with you because you're half N-word. And on that same strip, the black kids would be saying the same. You know, we don't want nothing to do with you because you're half H-word. And I'm like, dude, I didn't ask to be born this way. That's not something that I can fucking help. But kids don't give a fuck. And kids will throw you under the bus for every little thing when you were mixed. Somebody did something wrong, they blame the mixed kid. If you think I ain't never been blamed for some shit that I ain't never done, you would be wrong. As a child, if shit got stolen at school, because this happened to me in high school, because I was mixed, all the guys in the gym, somehow or another, your shit got stolen. Now, I'm going to show you an example of fucking black privilege, alright? With this story, and I'm in the live. But I will have to recharge my YouTube, and I'll give another story about this later. But if I don't get stung by this big ass bee, go. So in school, 2 things happened to me, and the principal, Mr. Leatherwood, he was vice principal at the time. He told me, 1, shouldn't have brought my comics to school. 2, you should not buy drinks and bring them from home to school if you don't want them stolen. Okay? So it's like, okay. Now, those same kids that stole my comic books and they stole my drinks, I hope they enjoyed the drinks. I'll tell you about that in a second. Their clothes got stolen. Mind you, all of these kids are over 6 feet tall, or at the 6 foot mark. Some of them I could fit both of my legs and one pair of their pants legs. Because that's how small I am. Their shit got stolen. Now, I'm a germaphobe. Straight the fuck up. If I don't have to wear your clothing, I'm not wearing your clothing. I don't borrow clothes from nobody because I don't know if you're clean. I don't want to sound like people are dirty, but you just don't fucking know, yo. You don't know. I had headlights once from a place that had clean sheets. But this is why I don't sleep with pillows. I have been traumatically affected by having headlights because as a child, black kids were told by the nurse, black people don't get headlights. I forgot. I'm not all the way black. Learned that black people and mixed people can get fucking headlights. Headlights do not discriminate. Back to the story. So, this damn principal called me to the principal's office. Made me check my backpack. Went to my homeroom teacher because I never used my locker because my backpack was like this fucking big. It was a fucking carryable locker. And we unzipped my locker. There was only school books in it. Nothing that didn't belong to me. Went to the homeroom teacher. We got the code to my lock. We opened up my lock and the little hatch. Only thing in my locker is spider webs. And this motherfucker, Mr. Leatherwood, continued to ask me, where did I stash their shit? And I said, first and foremost, I'm not a thief. Second, I'm a germaphobe. And thirdly, I can't fit their fucking clothes. Why would I steal it? So he had been watching me every year prior and after that shit. He tried to suspend me for doing kung fu in school because me and a guy was sparring and I was winning. And he didn't like that shit. So that guy was sparring was named Robert. And shout out to Robert. He decided that from now on, there would be no sparring in the cafeteria area. We were outside at the breezeway. No touching anybody on the breezeway, no extracurricular activity, but they allowed people to smoke cigarettes. For all the things we could have been doing, we weren't smoking cigarettes. But they allowed us to smoke cigarettes in school. I don't know how the fuck that shit happened, but it was in the 90s, and they allowed the teenagers to smoke cigarettes in school. As long as they were outside at the cafeteria. Kids literally took cigarette breaks in school. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, damn, maybe I should start smoking. But I didn't, because my dad made me eat a cigarette once. The point being made is that he didn't put that effort when my Inferno Saga, my comic books were stolen. And I went to him after I went through there and I looked, all my comics were stolen. And I said, all right, I'm going to go to the principal and report my shit stolen. So I went to go report my shit stolen. And he looked at me for 15 minutes. Like, he literally just stared at me. 15 minutes before he spoke. And what his speaking words were, not words of encouragement, they were words of discouragement. Because he didn't like mixed kids. And he straight said, you know, you mixed kids think y'all special, don't you? But here's the thing. You, specifically, should not have brought your fucking comics to school. That pissed me the fuck off. Now, weeks went past, and their shit got stolen. And I'm sitting in this office again after we went through all my shit, my locker, my backpack, everything. We even went out to my fucking car. And he searched my car. And he goes, I don't know what you did with their stuff, but I got my eye on you. I said, first and foremost, I didn't steal their shit. And you should tell them that they shouldn't be bringing their Jordache jeans and their Nikes and shit to school then. It's like, what? I said, remember when my comics got stolen and you told me I shouldn't be bringing my comics to school, but you ain't say shit about them and their expensive ass clothes. I bought my shit to TJ Maxx. I was poor as fuck. I'm still poor as fuck. So, I didn't have Nikes. I had Reeboks. And I could barely afford Reeboks. So, you know, I had to make sure that when I bought shoes, this is why I buy shoes in bulk. So, when I have money, I buy 3 or 4 pair of shoes. And I will wear the shoes until they're fucking done. And if I can replace the soles of the shoes, not the outer sole, but the inside, I'll go buy those and put the motherfuckers in there. See, that's poor living right there. But I had explained to him, those same kids stole my comic books and you ain't say shit. But they accused me of stealing their shit. And now I'm the bad guy who shouldn't be bringing all my shit to school, but they can bring their shit to school. But because I'm 5'3", mind you, all the people who shit I stole that I didn't steal but was accused of stealing, all these motherfuckers was bigger than me. Each one of them was at the 6 foot mark. Some of them were taller. all of them were fat and huge and muscular. And I'm sitting here being accused of stealing this shit. Why? Oh, it's because I was mixed. It was because all of the other black kids did black things and I didn't. It's because all of them were playing football and I didn't. I was the victim of racism in sports and school and shit all the time. Those same guys were the same motherfuckers picking on me in Miss Jones' class. I can't invite you. I'm sorry. Plus, I'm about to end the live anyway because it's like 1:38 and I've talked you guys to death. But Miss Jones also allowed these kids to fuck with me. Like, literally fuck with me. Her desk is right here. My desk is right here. There are spitballs in my hair every day. There'll be balled up homework and trash thrown at me, bouncing off my head. No way in hell she could miss that shit. No way she couldn't hear that shit go. Or, no way she couldn't hear that shit. And she allowed that shit to happen. And they allowed it to happen until I brung my martial art equipment to school. That being nunchucks. I'm gonna stop my YouTube so I can post that shit later. And anybody that you missed anything, it'll be